afternoon. Ruth informs me that I'm last man standing, so I'm probably the only thing between you guys and a drink. So I'll try and make it as interesting as I can, but also as succinct as I can, because it's always a challenge of being at the end. So yes, TSA Limited, of which PrintNZ is a member. Ruth sits on our board, which is terrific because we really want to have Australia and New Zealand and into the future Southeast Asia looking and talking about print based on value and not talking about print based on commodity, i.e. price-only discussions with our clients. And some of this sort of rhetoric, print is dead, print is extinct, that our industry is being presented with is certainly not supported by research, and it's absolutely not supported by brands that are still investing. And Australia has really learnt from that and started it originally, the TSA campaign, and now we're really wanting to push it hard this year in New Zealand to give you the tools to go and talk to your clients about value, because it is a bit of a tough gig. So we might have tech issues. I apologise in advance. I've had some problems with my presentation. It is not the tech guys. I take full responsibility. So while I'm telling you about the merits of print in physical form, I'm also explaining I might have digital/technology issues. Anyway, I'm going to talk to you about this sort of phrase that we're working with a little bit this year, and it's become a little bit on trend with the big marketing groups. Digitalisation. I love how they throw words together, the creatives, and they make new words, and then we all just sort of think it sounds funny, but it kind of rolls well off your tongue. Digitalisation. Physical and digital medias work best. And the good news for the print industry is that print works best than any other media channel with digital. I'm going to talk to you about why. There we go. The always on generation. We're told about millennials switching off. That's the next generation of consumers. The reality is that the aged community sectors are still the most influential and the most powerful consumer group, and they love print. So whilst we're working through what we're going to do with the digital natives, what does that mean? Now, the studies have come out about millennials, that millennials have a much higher affinity and trustworthiness of print than any other channel. Often people don't realise that. Just because they're on their smartphones and their devices frequently does not mean that they believe what they see. So when a customer is trying to gain brand awareness, when a customer is trying to get somebody to connect and hand over money, digital natives and millennials are far more suspicious and cynical of digital outputs than they are of printed outputs. Scam watch, digital fraud, phishing, these are all things. And I just had a gentleman present about cyber safety. The younger generations have been taught at primary school levels or junior levels about how to be suspicious of digital. So they are far more cautious with what they hand over digitally. They're always on though, and how we connect digital marketing messages and push to a much longer trusted conversation via print will be our key strength. Talking through about it being a complicated journey. No one sort of says to a marketer these days, and our customers are the most confused out of everyone. When I started marketing, I was a little junior advertising, I used to make tea, coffee, type stuff on a typewriter, and occasionally they let me sit in production meetings. But I had sort of no real concept of anything outside of three major channels: radio, television and print. That was it. There was no other channels for agencies to be considering for their clients. Now, marketers have about 12 channels. There's social, there's digital banner ads, there's all these other channels coming into it, which is creating more confusion because their budgets aren't growing. Their budgets are staying the same, and they're trying to work out what to switch on and what to switch off. It's our job to communicate to them why they should switch and retain the print component and how it works with the other channels. If we can educate them, again, we're selling value. So it is a brave new phygital world, and that's what we're talking about, how we need to think more about phygital instead of just print-centric and work out how we all mix together. When I said earlier in my introduction that when you mix them together, you get an increase. So when you add print, direct mail with digital, it's a 62% increase in ROI. When you put print and digital banner ads, there's a 50% lift. These are significant stats that you can talk through with your customers, and they're all available to you guys. This is all international research. We didn't make it up. I didn't just write it for today. You can absolutely get all of this through Ruth and her team. And they're nice things to add into some of your sales pitches. Brand and trustworthiness. Brand awareness, brand connectivity, emotional triggers to brand is really important, and it's one of print's strongest assets. So this is an IAB 2016 study that's come out, and what this is basically looking at is how do different media channels connect at different levels. And you can see there the pink colourblind. The blue is print, and across each, familiarity, favourability and consideration is all print. Print wins above the other channels. You wouldn't think that when you're hearing constant commentary in the marketing mags about print is dead. But the brand managers and the brand specialists across the world, working on all the big brands, know how important print is to their brand connectivity. When you look at catalogue sector is moving into, they look and feel like a magazine, but they're just a catalogue, because they're playing with that idea of connecting into the lifestyle elements of their customers, and they're developing their brand awareness and brand profile. The other channels sit quite well. We're not saying one channel runs supreme, well, of course we think print does, but working out when the other channels switch on so you can have a really quick digital banner ad. Remember, you've only got 2 to 3 seconds engagement on a digital banner ad, and then you move to print. Print, each week, Nielsen studies show that our consumers spend 26 minutes looking at printed advertising and marketing material. 2 to 3 seconds, push to a longer conversation for 26 minutes. I talked a little bit earlier in the introduction about how they have uplift and they share each other. Digital only, or desktop advertising as IAB refers to it, has a 23% lift. Print and digital, 50% lift. When you start talking to marketers about how they're going to allocate their budget, I can tell you every day of the week they want the 50% lift. In the same way that Financial Times analysed all of their markets around when people advertised in their printed publication and when they advertised on their digital publication, they got a 72% lift. So of course, when you're infiltrating all the channels, you'll get further. Does anyone know who this lovely lady is? I say lady loosely, she looks as young as my 12-year-old. No one knows? This is Zoella, international digital brand, one of probably the first digital brand icons. She, as a young teenager, sat in her room and started talking to her computer and blogged. Digital blogger is what she is, and she was telling all the other 13-year-old girls out there what lipstick to wear, what this lipstick brand was like, what this top was like, how to wear a scarf, how to wear a hat, how to wear your hair, on and on it went. Brands cottoned in on this. She got quite a big following fairly quickly, and they said, we'll pay you to review our products. She says, I'm not going to guarantee you a good review, but to be fair, she has criticised even the ones that have paid her. But now she is a massive icon and worth millions, her Zoella Foundation or Inc. or whatever she wants to call it. But the whole point is that she sits in a room, blogs digitally and pushes out content about beauty products. She has over 11 million followers. That's weekly. So that's people who go in every week and just listen to what this 13-year-old girl has to say about live fashion in the world in general. You can imagine what Paris fashion houses are thinking right now. We're not the only ones under pressure, but over 11 million followers. She didn't have over 11 million followers until she moved into print. Our digital icon, Zoella, was only doing blogging and was sitting around 4 to 6 million. Then she decided to do something else. She decided to produce a book. Girl Online, how ironic. The book that she decided to produce was actually ghostwritten, and she got into a bit of trouble about who wrote the book, but nonetheless she's written 6 so that her fans forgave her. But since she stepped off platform, so since she embraced print and started to get more into magazines, she got to over 11 million followers. On her own, still fairly pretty good for a 13-year-old girl in her bedroom at 4 to 6 million followers, but understanding the power of print, and now you have this sort of 12 to 14-year-old readership audience that reading her novels. Brands are becoming publishers. I talked about how brands' catalogues are doing brand zines, or magalogs we're calling them. Department stores are doing their own magazines. Farmers, Smith & Co. They're doing their own magazines, and it's selling their product to you in a lifestyle setting. And the point of why brands are doing this is so they can own it. David Jones is an Australian retailer, a bit like a Smith & Co. in that genre. They decided that they were spending X amount of dollars in print advertising. Why don't they just go and produce their own magazine? That way they can control every page. They can go to their wholesalers, the people supplying into their stores, and get them to advertise. They pick up the advertising for dollars, and they have 250,000 magazines circulated. Some are delivered through their direct mail loyalty program, and others are handed out in store. They get more cut through from readership than the other Vogue, Harper's and Elle. Why the hell wouldn't they control it? So you can start to see where brands are saying, well, hang on, I can control my brand messaging, I can raise my awareness, I can have full PR editorial sign off, and yeah, it'll cost me, but I'll have the revenue line. Coles and Woolworths and Countdown here make money, and a lot of them, from their catalogues. In fact, they make so much money, they're a revenue line, and that's why a lot of the catalogue sector has stayed very stable, because retailers actually make a lot of money out of them. They're wholesalers advertising them. They are publishers. How we can encourage some of our smaller customers, because not everyone is a Countdown, not everybody is a massive retailer. How we can encourage some of our smaller customers, hey, do your own half-yearly publication. Control your messages. I often talked about, if I had my own print company, one of the things I would always have is a journalist sitting there for 2 or 3 days a week, just writing content and publishing this for customers. But it's just an idea of just another angle to encourage your customers to do some print work. Digital brands love print. The fallacy and this sort of myth again that, you know, we're all going to be running away and never looking at a physical product again is untrue. Google sent out its 2017 calendar to say game on, to motivate all of its Google partners. Google's Google partners, let's get googly, Google's Google partners are people who are experts in Google algorithms, and they tend to be SEO experts, and they advise companies how to get the best cut through for digital ads. So these guys sell digital ads and know the theory and all the science behind digital ads. And how does Google spur them on to have a great year? They send them a printed calendar. Google Game On 2017. Apple is a fantastic book. It's a very quick read. I recommend it. I always recommend it. It's Inside Apple. Adam Lashinsky, he worked with Steve Jobs, and Steve Jobs set up a little think tank, a little research tank of specialists. He used to just pick them out across the group, and they had to design how to make the product, which was digital product, a device. His brief to them was, you have to make this connect with people before they turn it on. So once you turn it on, Apple sells creativity. That was always what Steve Jobs' mantra was. The device helps you be creative. But before you turn it on, his brief was, we want people to fall in love before they turn it on. And the way that they did that was packaging. I don't know if any of you have Apple devices or have ever gone in and can still remember the focus that Apple put on their, you guessed it, paper and print packaging. And in Adam's book, he talks about how the smooth selections of paper, they had paper everywhere in their rooms, and they were feeling it, and talking about how humans connect to paper and how they could get all of those emotions before they turn the device on. Facebook this year, to motivate all of its staff who are selling into business and business acquisition, designed Facebook cards, and on each card is a marketing tip. Idea. Facebook is one of the largest DM investors. So for all of their business acquisition, they spend a lot of money doing it via DM. Google do it as well, to get people to spend money and invest in Facebook advertising. So whilst they're selling a digital output, they're using all the other channels, including one of the hardest working, which is print. Now I'm going to sort of quick segue. I feel like there should be music here now when I do this. But the next segue, after I've sort of gone through the stats and facts and things like that and just sort of thrown all them out at you, Ruth will have this presentation to share. But what I like to talk about is inspiring all of us to walk away and at least come to a client with just one different idea. When they give you the specs for a job, just throw back one idea. We all know we make more money in embellishments. So let's throw them some ideas on how they can do that. They're not going to have the big budgets to do them all, but they certainly will like the idea of maybe how you could help them do something different, because that's what marketing is. Whether it's print, digital, TV, doesn't matter. We all have to stand out in a really noisy consumer messaging world. So what have we got? All Blacks. I'm in the right country. We all know who they are. All Blacks did limited edition posters where they got all of the players from the full squad they took blood from each of them, no drug testing, just blood, and put it into the black ink and then printed the poster with All Blacks blood. This was part of their It's In Your Blood campaign, you probably recall seeing, because they did a lot of outdoor media, they did a lot of other media publications to support the It's In Your Blood campaign. But this was a limited edition poster series, which they sent out framed, and they gave a lot of clubs, bought them and did some fundraising and things like that. Overseas, in the Netherlands, HIV awareness poster series and beautiful print production. I actually had the privilege of holding it, it's amazing. They took HIV positive blood and put it into the ink also. Probably thinking, hang on a minute. The whole idea is that HIV virus doesn't last longer than 6 hours once out in the oxygen. So by the time it was mixed in ink, it was no longer infective. But the point was that's another element, just by how they applied print and ink and worked with the substrates, they were able to create awareness of how long HIV blood stays positive. Blood in ink, very popular. 2 campaigns right there. Here's another campaign, some may have seen it. It's a video, so I'll let the video do the talking.
Experts in domestic violence say there's a misconception that only women from poorer households are victims of sexual or physical abuse, but research has shown that that is not the case.
We created an article showcasing a new designer home in an upmarket suburb. Starting on the contents page, the article looked and read just like regular content. Almost. On every page, we placed a telltale sign that everything in this home was not quite okay. Then on the 8th page, we revealed the truth. Family violence can happen in any home. Last year alone, police made more than 100,000 family violence investigations across the country, in every kind of neighbourhood.
So coming up after the break, we discuss a Clever magazine campaign to raise awareness of domestic violence.
1 in 3 women at any one time in their life, which means, of course, that it may well have impacted your family or your friends.
In 1 week, we sparked a conversation involving 1/4 of the New Zealand population, all with just 1 article. Now every kind of neighbourhood knows what to look out for and can do something to help.
Sobering campaign, a very serious issue, and I don't want to downplay that issue. However, the point that I'm making from that is a printed publication, which they also did brochures of. Then you saw the Twitter feeds, you saw the TV commentary. That is a multi-channel campaign that started on print. Print is not dead. Print is tired. Print needs some bit of a pump, needs some of that blood in the ink. But this is a perfect example of how to create an emotional trigger and an emotional appetite to then form discussions on other media channels. And I think they've done a brilliant job because it is so subtle but so engaging, and that's a very successful marketing campaign. This is massive. Australians love our names on things. I'm learning. We love it. I don't know, I apologise on my research levels because I haven't found anything over here as powerful with some of these ROI stats. So maybe it's just the vanity of Aussies. But this is an area of digital print. So digital print is the fastest growing digital sector of the print industry, okay? There are channels within that, so you've got packaging as well, which is performing very well, but digital is where all the investment dollars are. If anyone's been to any print expo in the past 3 to 5 years, all of the machinery out on the floor are the digital printers. The Canons, the Konicas, the Ricos, they're all got the big stands, and the HP Currys and the Heidelbergs and a little bit quieter. So Vegemite came out, Nutella's come out, M&M's, we've got the Little Miss blogging covers as well. Maya, who is sort of the equivalent to your Farmers, is every year, they have a Christmas emporium. It's a gift emporium where you go in, the sort of gifts are under $20 for Christmas stocking fillers and so on. And they had a personalisation sort of stand, Nutella. It was their highest selling product across all of their Maya stores across Australia. People can go and buy the Nutella jar for $6.95, they're the big jars from your supermarket, but people were paying $12.95 to get their name on it. Like an Avery label, it's done in 30 seconds, cost me nothing. No, it's got to be in the Nutella font, it's got to be in the Nutella label, and off we go. I've got 4 kids, they all got one. Stocking fillers totally got sucked in, I've got to say. But that was the point is that we are engaging with the print technology, digital printing, and we're engaging with the brand because we want the font to be the same as the brand's font. We want our name to be recognised, and then we're instantly famous. We know about the Share a Coke campaign where you got to put your name on a Coke can, t-shirt, bottle, whatever. That was one of the most successful, won the Cannes Lion of advertising campaigns of the year. And that could not have occurred, not any aspect of that campaign could have occurred without digital printing. When they put their Cannes proposal in, their application to be considered, not once in their video, you can go on Google, it's on YouTube, great video, not once, even though everything they're showing showcase digital print, not once did they talk about digital print. Talked about social media a lot, talked about digitalisation and outdoor, got a Guernsey, not once did I mention print. And yet when I speak to the Coke marketing team, they know without being able to digitally personalise names, there's no way they could have been able to get that campaign up and running. That's our job. That's our job, to influence how anti-print some of these publications are being. Might need to go to Cannes and talk to the judges or something. Maybe we could do that. Sounds like something we should think about. Another video, again a little sobering, but I think you'll get the idea.
My name is Kathleen, and this is my home. We lost our little one's toys, our tavalas, and our handmade family tapas. And all our pictures and all our memory stuff is gone as well. It's sad to come back.
Every heirloom, every memento, every memory is now ash. House ash that we mixed with the newspaper's black ink to create a print run like never before. So when Kiwis picked up their morning newspaper, they were holding a piece of a local house devastated by fire. All of this to show the importance of having working smoke alarms, like Kathleen and her family, because they got out with their most valuable treasure, their lives. Check to see if your smoke alarms are working today, so you and your loved ones can get out too.
It's a very grim over here, I'm seeing. No, sensing a trend here. The I'm not saying run around now and start putting blood and ash and just everything, whatever you got. Got an M&M, pop that in your ink. No, I'm not saying that at all. But I am saying what these examples are showing you is that we have to push our medium. We can't just sit back and say, you know, 6-page DL, 4-colour process, no probs, yeah, I'll get you the cheapest, you know, 120 GSM, we're good to go. We need to understand that our future is that we are a specialty, bespoke media channel to create and engage and connect on emotional levels. And in order to do that, we have to become, as we are, the experts at pushing our channel and our media. Whatever you can put in ink, if your client's briefing a certain campaign to you, think through different applications. They'll come up with the creative. But just ensure that you can educate them on what print can actually do for you. Some of these things aren't overly expensive, by the way. You may not want to put ash through your machines, but you can work with your suppliers about how that would work. But these aren't things that have to be big budget. There was a fantastic cat nip or cat litter campaign where they sprayed it, instead of a varnish, they sprayed these little DL, the door drops, with catnip. So when they came into the home, the cats were chewing them and eating them and rubbing all over these little postcards that were selling cat litter, kitty litter. So the owners have got cats going crazy and they're looking at something that's making sense. Oh, it connects with my cat, we're good to go. Not an expensive thing to do. Bex, they did a conductive ink. They did it an outdoor promotion, poster promotion, where, you know, have a beer with Bex, play music, be creative, all of this. This was all based on conductive ink printing, which is where you can play things, and you can Google this, a great YouTube clip on this as well. Should have put that one, it'll be a bit more upbeat. But the playable posters are multi-sensory. You can do that on your own presses with some technology advancements in the papers. And a nice one to end on. This one's a good one. So this is a solar energy company, and they work with their printer to use photochromatic inks. What a great application for a solar energy company. A million green energy companies over here. All their brochures should be like that. Fantastic use of an ink technology. I'm not an ink rep, in fact I don't have any ink members, so I don't have to declare bias, but all of these applications, as I said, are opportunities to make your product more exciting, more engaging, and therefore more valuable. And when you're competing in a landscape, not with each other, you're competing with TV, radio, newspaper press ads, they're your real competitors, because they're eating into your marketing budget. When we start talking with these value and ideas on how to really give marketers a better cut through, because that's what they're there to do. They're not there to, you know, book more print or book media. What they're ultimately there to do is to stand out and make them famous by helping them do that. I'm happy for questions or anything like that, but really, thanks for listening, and I know you've had a great day, so I don't want to keep you here too long. Thanks.
Were there questions? Any questions for Kellie? We do have access to the two campaigns that we talked about, the two sides and the value of paper and print. We have access to a huge amount of data for that, so if you're interested in having a look at that, there's quite a thick book with all the collateral in it. If there's facts and figures that you want out of it. Oh yeah, Glenn's just waiting on the desk with a copy of the first issue of the Value of Paper and Print magazine. There's some great case studies in there. Take that away, we can provide you with more copies. The next edition of that is about to go to print, I think, so that will be available in April. But the stats and figures, come back to us if you're interested in having any of that stuff that you can incorporate into what you give to your give to your customers, or that you want to use if you have got newsletters and things that you send out to your clients. Use some some of the data and facts in there to tell them about print and the stories that, you know, some of the information that Kellie's got here and some of those case studies. So the further we can spread that information, the better, and we've got that, and so please make sure that you use it. So thank you, Kellie.
And
That was awesome.
Sorry, just with that VOC mag, if you have any customers that have done a print campaign or a multi-channel campaign which included print, and it's been really successful and they're happy to be interviewed and put in the VOC mag, reach out, because at the moment I'm presenting to all major retailers tomorrow in Auckland, and we're trying to get some New Zealand voices in there. We've got lots from Europe and the US and UK. Got a fair few from Australia, but we want to get more New Zealand content, because some of those examples I showed you are fantastic applications of how to use print in multi-channel campaigns. And when I show them over the ditch, the mad, you know, scratching is going on as they sort of think about how they could use it over there. So you guys are well renowned for coming up with ideas first. So please, if you do have them, reach out and we can use them. Thanks.
Great, thank you very much.